Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a very weird sports and entertainment podcast that's hosted by Giant Mess. That's me, the real cinch Neal Lynch. I'm a former fourth-string college quarterback and mediocre middle relief pitcher who earned himself a degree in film and media studies. Some pretty elite stuff. Now I'm a single dad who loves to talk New York Giants football, New York Mets baseball, movies, TV shows, and comedy. On today's episode, we're still in 2024, even though it's March of 2025. Yikes. So I'll be recapping the biggest stories from my personal life and from the interwebs. I got to see a bunch of movies. Watchmen Chapter 1, Feast of the Seven Fishes, Carry On, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I had a bunch of really interesting things happen in terms of my interaction with recruiters for a job. My daughter got pink eye. There was cookie day. We'll look at why Scorpios are so annoying. Huh? A hellacious day for birthday parties, back-to-back birthday parties in one day. Take a look at what goes into a snow globe cocktail. I sent out holiday cards for the first ever time. And my visit down to South Carolina to spend some time with my family, sans daughter. Also, would you rather be shot or stabbed? We'll dive into that. So without further ado, let's get started up in here. All right, December kicked off with Watchmen Chapter 1. This is an animated feature that was released on Max. I guess it went into theaters. I don't remember it going into theaters, but it's an animated feature. And I got to see it on Max. It was, for the most part, just like the movie that came out in 2009. So it's a little weird that they would decide to give the green light to that and to put that out. Not even, I guess it's 15 years. So it has been just about a generation's worth of time since the movie came out, and they released 2 chapters. I don't know if there are going to be any more chapters. They did not release both chapters at once. So it's Chapter 1 that I got to see in December, and then I just watched Chapter 2. It just came out in late February 2025. So moral ambiguity. The corrupting nature of power and unintended consequences of well-intentioned actions. We have all been there. I think I've been there. You know, I think everyone kind of views themselves as the protagonist of their story, the hero, not realizing that you're someone's villain. And I have no doubt in my mind that I'm a villain in a lot of stories, a lot of narratives. I'm the bad guy. You know. That's what's been the tough part of growing up, right? Is like as a kid, it's like good versus evil. And it's like, well, the good guy did this thing late night in the Hamptons, kind of really messed up someone else's life and their family. And this evil person, well, they're actually doing it for the right reasons, you know? But that's just, I guess, the nature of the beast. So I that's why I appreciate Watchmen. I wish Watchmen, you know, it seems unlikely we're going to get another Watchmen season of the TV series. I know the TV series, I liked it. I know some people were kind of like, well, this is a little too woke for their tastes or whatever. But, you know, the Watchmen, the boys, I like seeing the real world ramifications that come along with being a superhero and, you know, and taking it in a kind of a different route than what you see in Marvel and in DC, where it just feels like, you know, kind of same old. So, yeah, I mean, I'd say if you've seen the movie, maybe you don't need to watch the TV series, but I still enjoyed it. It's still enjoyable. And my God, Silk Spectre too. Jesus. They commented on like her costume a couple times. They were like, yeah, you definitely need a new costume. And it's like, no complaints here. I mean, I understand how like it is not, you know, it's I mean, it's not protective in any way. It's not protecting her. I can't imagine trying to do martial arts in the type of shoes that she's wearing. She's just very vulnerable and exposed in that costume. So I get it. But interesting. Like, I'm not quite sure what that means for Watchmen going forward. Not to spoil the movie or to spoil the animated series, but in the movie, it's an actual, there's a threat of nuclear war throughout, right? We're having issues with the Russians. It's the Cold War extended. And in the movie, Ozymandias is like, you think I would honestly tell you my plan if I hadn't already enacted it? I launched the bombs 35 minutes ago. In the series, in the animated features, which align more with the TV series in terms of like Ozymandias has developed or genetically engineered this friggin' massive, huge flying squid. And just he just like teleports it into New York City and ends up murdering millions. It's this it's almost like a genocide, mass extinction level event. And that either way, he's using that to embolden and bring together all the warring factions to say we need to unite as one against a bigger foe, a bigger threat, in these alien squids. So, who knows I didn't look into it, but who knows why the movie studio executives decided to take another route. They probably thought, well, this is a little too far-fetched and we're going to lose people big time. But I think that's what appeals to a lot of Watchmen fans is that really bizarre, odd way of approaching, superhero storytelling is like, nukes, we've been there, done that. Giant flying squid? No, that's a new one. So I think I still have a lot of interest in the Watchmen universe. I don't know where it goes from here. I don't know, like, if James Gunn has any plans for Watchmen. It feels like it's just it's a huge opportunity for them to build out that universe and to provide an alternate to what we're seeing with what has come out from DC in the feature film and TV world. Although, you look at James Gunn's track record and you look at like Guardians of the Galaxy, you look at his version of the Suicide Squad, it is more off the beaten path. It is a little off the wall, off kilter. So I'm wondering if he's, much like how Marvel is going to now take the X-Men and weave them into the storytelling and bring kind of a more, I don't want to say politically charged, even though it is. I guess it is politically charged, and for the most part, X-Men has been a bit darker than most Marvel properties, right? I think. And Deadpool, bringing that into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is James Gunn now going to say, okay, I think Watchmen can be our X-Men, and how are we going to... But I think that probably won't happen. He's just got a lot. The whole Batman debacle is crazy. The fact that I don't know. There has to be a little bit of more cohesion and cohesiveness to the strategy there. We're just going to have the Reeves Batman, and then we're going to have like Robert Pattinson Batman, and we're going to have this other Batman. It's like, unless he's setting it up so that they meet and they come together in a project, which I don't hate. We saw how it worked in Spider-Man No Way Home, but honestly, it's, I don't know how you can wedge or shoehorn Watchmen into it unless it's like a cameo situation or an extended side quest type thing where you can have someone like a Batman. The multiverse is not going away. We've opened the Pandora's box when it comes to the multiverse. So it's like, it's just kind of, it's a thing. And we can't just say, I don't think that every project needs to hammer us over the head with it. I think there was a streak there where it was like every single thing coming out is focusing on the multiverse. And it's like, all right, well, maybe we should just pump the brakes a little. But I do like, it could be in a movie that's not about the multiverse. It's like they slip into the multiverse, hinting at a future multiverse project. And when they slip into that multiverse, one of the multiverses, whatever universes, is this alternate Watchmen universe. That could be a fun little cameo. Or it could not just a cameo, a side quest where it is the plot B, where they're like this character that we know and love, like a Batman or something like that, gets stuck in the Watchmen universe, can't get back, and blah blah blah. So just spitballing here, Gun. What do you think? Put her there, partner. So yeah, that was Watchmen. Quick note about Peloton. I've now had my Peloton bike. If you've seen it in the background, if you watch the videos I've had it for just about a year now. I got it pretty much based on like 99% of what I do in life for a woman. So stupid, but it's been a year, and I've just noticed little patterns and trends here and there. One of the patterns or trends I've noticed, one of the quirks, is that like counting and time are completely distorted and messed up with Peloton instructors. Like they cannot get that down pat at all. They're like, all right, 30 more seconds, 5, 4, and you're like, well, you said 30 seconds, dude. Like, what happened to the 25 seconds? They're just like, all right, 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. It's like, no, that wasn't 10 seconds. You might want to review the videotape. Let's go to the instant replay. So that's always been fun, like watching them trying to count down or give an estimate and being completely off, just way off. Just if anytime they mention a time, it's probably not accurate. It's probably like, 45 seconds left. All right, 10, not, nope. All right, whatever. And Olivia Amato. I can't do classes with Olivia Amato anymore. Ben Aldis is kind of my jam. I know that's probably like a lot of people roll their eyes and are like, oh my God. But Ben Aldis is just like Mr. Consistent. I dig his tone, his approach. He doesn't seem like fake or like he's forcing it. It's just like, here I am. I'm going to tell you how to do things, and we're going to get through it. And it's just like, all right, cool. I dig your vibe. Some of the other people, it's just over the top, and it's like they are trying so hard to come up with like a catchphrase that they can turn into a gimmick that they can put on a shirt. It's just like, all right, just shut up, dude. Just tell me what to do. But Olivia Amato, I can't do classes with her anymore. The woman is a freak. And I mean that in the best possible way. And it's not a negative thing. Some people are built different. She is for sure built different. One of one. I mean, we're talking about like, if you're familiar with Peloton, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, there's three metrics in front of you. There's the cadence and resistance, blah, blah, blah. She just turns that shit to 11. Every single friggin' class. Every class is like a difficulty of minimum 8. And it's just, and she does not really get winded. Like you can tell she's doing like, I imagine that a lot of the instructors, like they're telling you, oh, turn your resistance to this, do your cadence to this, but they're probably not going all out because they have to speak the entire time. That is definitely not the case with Olivia Amato. This chick, and she looks like, I don't know what her actual size is, but she looks like she's 5'0", and has this steely gaze. Like, I don't want to say it's a crazed look, but she's got that look in her eye. She's got that crazy look in her eye where it's like she refuses to get winded. Like she like mentally forces herself to not get winded. And then she just stares through you. And it's just like, and she says these little things where it's just like, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Like, this is what happened to you. So Olivia Amato, God bless, but I'm out. I can't do it. She murders me every time. And I've never experienced it. Well, I mean, I haven't really gone through all the different instructors. Like there's a German instructor who is is apparently a doctor and is like hardcore into heavy metal. And I enjoy her because she has a thick German accent. And she just is like, you can just tell her joy is not this like forced fake joy, inauthentic joy. It's like she give me a hell yeah. Give me a hell yeah. It's just like, I mean, they all have their catchphrases and whatnot that they try and say, but like Sam Yo is another one that I enjoy because he's just like I don't know. It's just, nice and steady. He's not, it's not, they're not treating it like you're going on a freaking war. It's like, I'm just riding a stationary bike, dude. There's not a flautist and a drummer boy behind me. And my sigil is not up in the air waving as we're going to battle. Like we're just riding a bike here. We're not actually going anywhere. The funny thing is the one song that reminds me of the one song, there's like a remix. There's a remix of the White Stripes song, their most popular song, Seven Nation Army. There's a remix of it. Let's see if I can find it here. It's like it sounds like you are part of a Viking fleet, like you're going into like a very like heavy death metal battle. I think this is it. Viking vibes out the ass. It's my thoughts on Peloton. I had an interview with a virtual recruiter. This is the first time I've ever had to deal with a virtual recruiter. And I had no idea it was a virtual recruiter until I got on the phone with this software, AI. Like it's called Aiden. Aiden is the name. It's spelled like AI. That should have been my first clue. It starts with AI, DEN, or it might be AIDAN, but like I don't even know if they said they were a virtual recruiter. They just said they're a recruiter. Texted me, called me, scheduled the call, got on the call, and it was just like, it's just weird. They ask you questions. You have an allotted time to speak and say your answers. You can't, I think you're given like, there's a time limit. You can't ask questions. It's a very weird process. And I mean, suffice to say, I was not passed to the next round mostly because I was just pissed. I was like, I cannot believe this is what it's come to. I spend way too much time on LinkedIn and, AI is like, it's been a hot topic for years now. And it just seems like we're now in a battle, like candidates versus recruiters and hiring managers where, and even in like the world of journalism, it's like, well, employers, recruiters, hiring managers can use AI to filter out candidates, but candidates can't use AI to help them with their resume and their cover letter and whatnot and help them like, it's just like, so you guys can use it, but we can't. I don't know. I know it's an overly simplistic way of looking at things. And I always have a tendency, I don't know if it's because of just growing up watching a lot of movies and TV shows and watching sports where it's like us versus them, but it feels like, wait, so you guys get to use all this AI. And then like, if we try to use AI, your AI detects our AI and and eliminates us from the process. Like what's happening here? The fuck? So that was bonkers. There was another recruiter that reached out to me and said, I have a fantastic opportunity for you. And they gave me the pay rate, which was below my minimum pay rate. And they said it's a contract for 2 to 6 weeks. 2 to 6 weeks. 2 to 6 weeks. I was like, what are we doing? Why? What? How is this a fantastic opportunity? There's no opportunity to get hired out of this. 2 to 6 weeks of work. And I guarantee, like, there's not much you can get done in 2 to 6 weeks that is worth going outside the company and hiring someone. I don't know, man. So yeah, did not get that one. And then I had a text from another recruiter that reached out to me an opportunity. And I said, there's another recruiter that reached out to me before you about this same opportunity. I confirmed, like, is this the same opportunity? I said, I'm working with another recruiter on it. I know how you guys get. Like, you can't work with more than one recruiter. You have to pick a recruiter and go with it. And he was like, okay, do you know anyone else that would be interested? And I'm just like, bro, why would I give you the name of a competitor? Why would I do that? Why would I give you someone else that's going to compete with me to get this job? I just, the recruiters that I've been thinking about putting together, because like they all call from weird numbers where it's definitely someone in India. 1,000% it's someone in India who's masking their phone number, their Indian phone number, with some bizarre area code that I've never seen before in the United States. And I want to put together I should have been saving all of these and just put together a compilation. The majority of them are like, you can't understand what the person is saying. And, that's racist. So be it. I'm racist. Like, you just can't understand what they're saying. More than half the time, 9 times out of 10, almost, even with like where the recruiter is English as a first language, like they forget what the position is. And they forget what they're calling about. It's like, and obviously I think that's a symptom of, just overworked, burnt out, too many jobs. But like literally, and that's all they do is they call, and they know like hardly anyone picks up. So I have to get through these phone calls. And like, it's always so, it's like, this is so-and-so with recruiting. I'm calling about the content management. Yeah. So if you think you're fit, it's like, okay, all right, I'm not getting that job, am I? I've never had that pan out. I think I'm thinking back to like, I want to say it's been like definitely more than 10 years, 10 years or more of just all these recruiters reaching out. And I submit submit everything they ask, and I never hear from them again. So it's definitely a black market situation, like dark web situation. They're just pilfering and pillaging my data and information. Fantastic. Soberish was trending during December. Soberish. So I would say, I've had a couple friends that have gone sober. I know that it seems to be like the trend now for a lot of people, and that are middle-aged people, is like, we're gonna stop drinking, but because a lot of people just got, I know I was one of them, just got obliterated during the pandemic. Just like, we're all gonna die. I gotta go out. I can't go out sober. I gotta be drunk. So, yeah. So I think a lot of people decided like, all right, I'm going to switch it up, go sober-ish, where it's like, I'm going to drink non-alcoholic beers, but then I'm also going to drink THC cocktails, beverages, and edibles. And, it's like, don't worry. I'm still getting my buzz on, just not decimating my liver like I always had. But I guess Soberish was searched more than ever before in early December. There are some other terms for it. Mindful drinking, a term that describes drinking more mindfully. That's where, like, I guess you are mid meditation, maybe. Like you're approaching Zen and you're like, I know how to get me into that Zen. I just need a shot real quick. Give me that shot of Jaeger to get me to the Nirvana. No and low, a term that describes drinking less or less often. Cali sober, a term that describes the lifestyle of giving up most recreational drugs except weed and psychedelics. Cali sober. I will say once they, because I'm in New Jersey, and New Jersey just passed, it just recreational marijuana use just was legalized in January 2021, which the timing on that couldn't have been more perfect. It's when I got officially separated, or at least the first attempt at separation. So I was like, oh, perfect. And, it does help curtail the drinking. You take like 5 milligrams, 2.5 milligrams. And, I don't drink as much. So, yeah, I would say I'm soberish, Cali sober. The benefits of sobriety: improved concentration and memory, better sleep, stronger immune system, lower cardiovascular risk, decreased risk of cancer, more energy, and better mental health. So, yeah, maybe I should go the sober route. It's just other people cannot handle it. It's like I have no qualms, but like if I go to a party, it's just, and that's the main, I think the main detractor con for a lot of people is like you go to a party and you just want to hang out and not like stick out like a sore thumb. And apparently a lot of there's been some really great developments in terms of NAs, non-alcoholic drinks. I just remember that episode of Beavis and Butthead where they go to like the Quickie Mart or the 7-Eleven in town that they always go to, and they end up buying beer and they end up drinking and it's non-alcoholic beer, and they end up like pounding 1 million non-alcoholics. And it's like, I think I feel something. So, yeah, I could use all those things. Better sleep, dude. I don't know what switch flipped in my body or brain, but I have not slept a full 8 hours in 2 months. It doesn't matter what I do. I have not, and I've tried. It's like Saturday or Sunday, I don't have any obligations. I don't set an alarm. I put on Do Not Disturb. I have the blackout curtains closed. It's just, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sleep like a freaking newborn. Just 14 hours of unadulterated sleepage. And nope, I wake up 7 hours later. And but I don't feel like crazy tired. It's wild. I don't understand what's going on. My immune system sucks. I feel like I'm just constantly sick. Just constantly. My daughter's constantly sick. I'm constantly coughing. I gotta say, like, my asthma has kicked back up for some reason. No idea why. But when if you have asthma or you're asthmatic, it's like, it could be one of the scariest things on earth that no one talks about. The inability to breathe. Just breathe. You just take it for granted. You're like, oh, in and out, in and out. You're not thinking about it. It's just automatic. And then when it's made more difficult, when you struggle with it, and you're like, wow, I could, like, if I didn't have this inhaler right now, what the fuck would I do? I'm just gonna die alone in this bed because I can't breathe. I can't do the most natural thing that just shouldn't take any effort. Ugh. Reminds me of like those anti-smoking commercials that you'd see where it's like the guy's just like I can't imagine. Like, I only have to deal with it on rare occasions. It doesn't happen that frequently. But like if that's your life, whew, brutal. And then the cardiovascular risk. I mean, my father passed from a heart attack, so that's always on my mind. My VO2 max is always low. It's just like my body's just doesn't matter how much I work out, how often I work out, how long. It's just like, no, it's still low. It's always going to be low. And it's only going to get worse, bro. So see you at the crossroads, bone thugs. More energy. Yeah. I would love more energy that is not like wired. I feel like when I've had as I take another sip of my second cup of coffee, like the only energy I get is from too much coffee, and then I go down it's just like the stop signs disappear. There are no red lights. And it's a freight train from the seventh circle of hell. Better mental health. I don't know what is going on with my mental health. I don't know. Because you can't, everyone, it feels like everyone recognizes, okay, you need to work on your mental health. And you just need to reach out and talk. Reach out to your it's weird. You have competing messages. One is like, if you're struggling with your mental health, reach out to your friends and family. And it's like, you do that, you bring it up, but it's like, I don't know. And then they end up going, well, you should probably seek professional help. And then, professional help costs. I mean, I just got done paying for professional help that I had back in friggin' August. It was fucking 6 months ago. So it's expensive. After I got laid off, I could no longer see, the person that I really liked with the one company. So then I signed up I got a free trial to this other thing. And the woman's like, I walk her through everything, and she's like, wow, so you're still grieving. You're still in grief. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, like, shouldn't you like be aware that grief like doesn't just it doesn't just go away. It's always like part of you. You're gonna be you're grieving for pretty much the rest of your life. It's just not as like profound during sometimes. So that was a tough woman to deal with. She at one point she's just like, well, why would anyone want to be with you if you're gonna be sad like this? It's like, thanks. So glad this is free. This is what free therapy looks like. Same with like a free trial for like a career coach. I feel like once they figure out that you're on a free trial and that you're odds are you're probably not going to pay, they absolutely phone it in and mail it in. They're just like, oh yeah. They just lose all professionalism. They're just like, oh yeah, well maybe just go on being a loser. It's just like, wait, what? This is not making me want to sign up. So yeah, Soberish. Yeah, because I mean, like, there have been a couple weekends in February where it was just like, all right, that was a bit much. Maybe we need to temper things a little bit. But my God, it feels good. It feels good. Feels like you're on a spaceship. So I know Snoop on the Stoop and Martha on the Mantle were also searches that were at an all-time high. I tried, I guess a lot of people tried to buy, it was a limited supply and they tried to buy and could not get it. So maybe that'll be something I'll look to get for next Christmas. But, my daughter was asking, like, I don't have Elf on the Shelf. My ex does. So it's a bit confusing for my daughter, who's just like, so the elf is at mommy's house, but the elf is like, where's your elf? Is like, you don't have an elf on the shelf? Like, she just is stunned by my lack of elf on said shelf. And it's just like, Elf on the Shelf, spoiler alert for any kids listening, was not a thing when I was a kid. It's wild that we have to, and it's just going to get, it feels like it's just going to get worse and worse. It's like, well, Santa's watching, and then kids called bullshit. And they're like, all right, well, now we have a spy. Santa has a spy, even though Santa's all knowing, omniscient. He's everywhere and can see what you're doing at all times. We need to have a tangible physical being in the space who can corroborate, in the event that Santa goes offline, or, whatever technology he uses to listen in is on the fritz. So now we have this visual representation of, an elf watching you. And so she's like, well, why don't you have an elf? And I'm just like, I just felt like saying, because who gives a fuck? Why do I need an elf? Just be a good person. You shouldn't need an elf to be a good person, but apparently kids do. They need to be threatened. They need to have fear. Just like, I guess that's what happens with adults now too. I mean, there's a gig that I've taken where it's just like, if you don't do this, this, and this, and your ass is, it's just like, wow, this is my first week on this thing and I already want out. The fact that you guys are treating people like this at the pay that you're giving is criminal. And it happens at Meta, and it's just like, it's depressing, dude. But Snoop and the Stoop, I gotta get. Martha on the Mantle, not so much. That would be a good pair, though. Snoop and Martha they definitely have boned, right? I just can't see, it's just tough for me to wrap my head around, them both, their affinity for weed, and and the amount of projects that they've done together and have not hooked up. That's a sex tape that would rule all sex tapes. That would break some records. Top Christmas songs. Those are people are looking for Christmas songs to play. All I Want for Christmas Is You drives me up a wall. And it's it's now starting to play in stores October 1st. I want to say it was Labor Day this past year. I was just like, guys. And then people get upset at me when I keep my Christmas tree up for the month of January into February. It's like, well, you motherfuckers have been celebrating Christmas since September, but yet I can't post. There's no post Christmas celebration. We ain't got shit going on in January and February. October, September, November, we have football, Halloween, Thanksgiving. We got other stuff. January, yes, obviously Martin Luther King Day, very important. February, Black History Month, I get it. But why can't I? It brings me so much joy. I don't know why, but Christmas lights, there's a very weird drunken nostalgia that I get from Christmas lights. I don't know why. So I know, people say it's tacky, it's tawdry. I don't give a shit. So All I Want for Christmas Is You. It gets run into the ground. It's like the first song on the Spotify playlist, every single Spotify playlist. And my God, if elected president, my first executive order. No, I wouldn't get rid of it, but it's just we don't need it on loop, right? Jingle Bells is next. My daughter, it doesn't matter what time of year it is, she loves doing the alternate version of Jingle Bells. Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin has laid an egg. The Batmobile has lost its wheel, and the Joker got away. That's the one that I'm used to. She is now updated it to, and I guess this is just a new generation update to, and Joker does ballet. And I was like, all right, that's a cool little twist that I can get on board with. But when we go grocery shopping, there was an instance where I take my goddamn time in most things that I do, but especially at the supermarket. And it usually takes me like an hour just because I'm like, I don't want to forget anything. And I mean, I always do. I always miss something where it's just like, oh, God damn it, I missed it. But there was a couple trips where she'll just do that jingle bells for the entire frickin' grocery store trip for the hour. Just jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin Lane. And I'm just like, okay, I think I've died and gone to hell. And this is my punishment, which of all the things I've heard about hell, this one's not so bad. Jingle Bell Rock, also a very heavily searched Christmas song. I like Jingle Bell Rock a lot. I don't think I could ever get sick of that. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I mean, there was a stretch where, again, like my daughter loves the beach, which is weird because she doesn't like going in the ocean, and she likes Christmas. Like loves Christmas. Like, when are we going down to South Carolina for Christmas? When are we going down to South Carolina for Christmas? That's where my family is. And there was a time, like, she has a Christmas tree that also kind of acts as the family tree, because there's photos of, my side of the family and her mom's side of the family on this Christmas tree. And there was a time where it was like, her bedtime songs were Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and Frosty the Snowman. That was and Jingle Bells. That was the mix, the playlist for her bedtime, no matter what month of the year it was. So I can only imagine. And her bed is right next along the wall, and this quote unquote luxury apartment, like you can hear everything in the room next to you, everything. So we can hear the neighbors like laughing their dicks off about my singing capabilities. But I can only imagine, them being like, is he singing Frosty and Rudolph and it's freaking July? Say what? So yeah, not banish, but there's like basically most of the Christmas songs from Home Alone, I think. Like that's a good soundtrack, which my daughter calls Kevin. Can we watch Kevin 1 and then watch Kevin 2? And I'm like, I got you. I can decode. I can translate. My daughter also got pink eye. I don't know how she got it. And also, when you think of pink eye, and you visualize pink eye, it's probably pretty gnarly and nasty. This did not look like she had pink eye at all, but she was constantly rubbing her eye. And so it got to the point where she went to the nurse, and the nurse sent her home from school because of it, even though it's like, you couldn't see anything. It's not like her eye wasn't actually pink, and there wasn't any like, congestion or mucus or whatever. It's just like, oh, okay, I guess this is what's happening. So I had to take her to the doctor, and she gave her some drops. Which, I had to give her drops 3 times a day for 7 days, and it cost $60. And I was just like, oh my God, dude, there has to be a better way than this. All the friggin' technological advancements in science and medicine, and we gotta slow play this friggin' pink eye. So, and she was not a fan of that, man. Like the as a kid, think about when you're a kid and you have to like put your head back and open your eye as this thing, like you see this thing entering your eye. Like I'm completely used to it now, where I've had contact lenses for 20 plus years going back to college. So I'm used to putting things in my eye. And I think I've set the record for pink eye because, I didn't have dailies. I didn't have daily contacts. I literally like went blind, or just about blind one time. It was like right around the time that Ray came out, that biopic with Jamie Foxx about Ray. Man, that is sad. I can't remember his name. Charles. Whew. Marijuana affects the memory. Ray Charles. Yeah. So I like back then I didn't use the dailies. So I'd often like party my tuchus off, and then I would fall asleep forgetting I had contacts in, fall asleep with the contacts in. This is when you could like smoke indoors. So like even if I'm not smoking, everyone else is, and so everything's getting real cloudy inside hot box central. And the smoke gets in the eye, gets in the contact. You then sleep. You have your eyes closed for 8 hours. You wake up and your eyes are fried. So that happened to me where I literally was Ray Charles. I had to wear sunglasses because the light hurt my eyes too much. And then trying to get to the eye doctor to get it worked out and fixed. It was like, my God, I wish I had footage of that because it was a fiasco. Just trying to like hail a cab. And I'm like, I'm like almost getting hit by a pickup truck, hailing a garbage truck. Yeah. So that pink eye was like the most, I don't know. It just like you would not have been able to tell if someone hadn't told you. You'd be like, she's fine. But so be it. Took the car to Pep Boys for the scheduled maintenance. The check-in guy, the guy at the front desk, was giving me a very interesting vibe where I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm straight. Like, I don't know what it was, but it was just, I was picking up like, what is this normal procedure? Is this standard operating procedure we got going? Is this the SOP at this establishment? So yeah, car's fine. It's fine. I mean, like the friggin', I mentioned, the rubber, whatever you call it, around the windshield was coming off. No big deal. He's like, we don't do that. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. But everything else seems all right, except for the fact that the friggin' Bluetooth and USB do not work. Like when I drove down, anytime I go on a long distance, I'm about to go on a long distance drive, usually to Rhode Island or South Carolina. Those are the two big long distance drives that I always make. The Bluetooth 100% guaranteed will crap out. So like I have to listen to friggin', God forbid, AM, FM, terrestrial radio. It is the worst. It is so horrific. I don't know how we got by with it for so long before streaming satellite radio and streaming radio came along, internet streaming. But dear God, it stinks to high heaven. And there's no like, I've tried my best to figure out like what sequence of events, what I need to do in order to prevent that from happening. But the car like consents when I'm about to go on a long distance trip and it won't connect. It'll connect. Even when I had the Spotify app is closed and I have no apps open on my phone, the moment I get in the car and turn it on, for any other drive, the Spotify will play, which can be a bit of could be a sticky situation with the kid in the car and, the explicit shit that I listen to. And that's always a fun explanation. But as soon as it's like, you're going to be driving minimum 200 miles. Okay. Bluetooth is donezo. No Bluetooth for you. It's just like, fuck. And then now the USB is crapped out. So it's like, can't charge the phone. And that's what ended up happening on the drive down was like, I couldn't get the Bluetooth to connect. I tried for maybe half an hour to an hour trying to get that Bluetooth to connect again. I was like, I cannot have the Bluetooth crap on. I mean, I cannot listen to static for the next 8 hours or silence. I can't have my mind wander for the next 8 hours. And couldn't get it to go. And eventually, the USB stopped working. So can't charge the phone. The phone craps out. And that's where I was using Waze on my phone. I go into the gas station and I asked the guy if he sells maps. And he looked at me like I had a dick growing out of my nose. It was just like, did you say apps or maps? We are not the App Store. We are not iTunes. We are not Google Play. It's like, no, maps. He's like a map of, like a map. Your gas station. How do you not sell a map? He's like, well, we have a map of like the county. or like the map of, this amusement park. I'm like, oh, cool. So I had to quickly, before my battery died on my phone, like go to the listed directions and ways and like write it out on a piece of paper. Like the good old days. That was brutal. So yeah, I got to get the USB. And I didn't even think about when I was at Pep Boys to be like, hey, can you check out the USB? Because it's crapping out. Can you check out the Bluetooth? It's crapping out. So that's something I gotta. It's definitely gonna come to a head where it's could lead to something bad. It feels like a movie where it's like this little thing that they show you in the beginning of the movie that ends up playing like a humongous role in the end of the movie. And it's just like, if he had just done that, folks, if he had just done that, he'd be alive. December was a tough month for my daughter. In addition to the pink eye, we got an email from the teacher about, teasing. There was another email from the teacher about like the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program. I was just like, wait a minute, what? Like, is she a troubled youth? You think she's a troubled youth? Because that's just the stigma, right? That's the stereotype or what's been associated with the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program, where it's like, oh, quote unquote, broken family and dysfunction and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, wow, is it really that bad? Like, I don't feel like it's that bad. I constantly check in with her. Are you sad? Are you mad? Are you upset? Are you happy? And she's like, no, I'm happy. I just don't look like it. And I'm like, okay, I'll take your word for it. So I don't know, but December was rough. So, but we got through it. And it's, I learned that I didn't even know this, that my sister was a part of the Big Sisters program when she was in college. And so, I guess someone from Princeton University will be her big sister. I have not heard, after we talked about it, obviously for a little bit, me and her mother, and, the teacher was like, your daughter is very sweet. She's very lovey-dovey. But she would benefit from this. And we said, we weighed the options. We said, all right, well, I mean, it's just, they are offering, and I don't know, ultimately, I think it's a good thing. Like, the school has been very proactive in terms of like, we're going to give her an intervention specialist for reading. And we're like, oh, okay. I mean, my daughter is the youngest in her grade. So, when they did testing, they're like, she's below the curve or not where she needs to be for first grade, but she's right on schedule for kindergarten. And it's like, well, she probably should be in kindergarten because she's the youngest in her grade. And you can even see like in the second half of the year, she's made huge strides and her reading has picked up a lot, as has her math. But like, then they want an intervention specialist it's like intervention specialist. It's just, it just sounds so bad. You hear the word intervention, your mind goes to, oh, my daughter is a problem. And now we're all gathering in a room and we all wrote letters and we're all reading the letters as my daughter's tweaking. It's like, that's where my mind goes when I hear intervention. So when they first, said, we're going to have an intervention specialist, I was like, whoa, I guess my daughter really has a problem. Got to lay it to smack, honey. But first it was a specialist for reading. Then they introduced the Big Brothers, Big Sisters thing to us, which we eventually agreed to. And she now is an intervention specialist for math. And it's just like, wow, you guys are dedicating a ton of resources to my daughter. It's like, do we feel like this might be an overreaction? And like the easier way to go about this is just to say, hey, let's have her repeat first grade, which I'm fine with, But I guess there are a lot of schools that wouldn't address that, or that wouldn't bring it to our attention and just let it slide, and then she would suffer. So it is ultimately, I think, a good thing, but it is a little nerve wracking when it's like, okay, well, it's just it's just this one thing. But now she has like her teacher, a reading specialist, a math specialist, and a big sister, and me, and her mom, and the mom's boyfriend. It's just like, it's a lot of people, but I mean, if you subscribe to the "it takes a village," then yeah, I guess it does take a village. So it's ultimately, I guess I'm grateful and happy that there's a village to help support her. It's just not everything, but a lot of what's going on with my daughter feels very foreign to me. Like I didn't have to have I know this is whatever. I'm going to come across as a dick, so whatever. I didn't have the specialist, the intervention specialist, or the big brother, big sister, divorced home environment. So like, this is a lot of this is just new to me, and you have things set in your brain when you hear it and you think a certain way, but like, it's supposed to be good. So I think she'll benefit from it, but it's just like, damn, dude, it felt like it was all happening at once. Like, in addition to your daughter, like being a dum-dum, we also need her. We also feel like you guys are bad parents. And so she needs someone who is actually supportive. And it's like, that's the voice in the head, the internal voice. It's like, shitting all over me. So I have, it's something that I have to work on. It's just like, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's never going away. I don't see that going away. So I have a growth mindset, obviously. So yeah. And it's funny too, when the teacher brings like this situation to us where, she, a kid came to the teacher and said, my daughter was doing so and was teasing her, not bullying per se, but teasing or something like that. And I was like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And eventually I get my daughter to talk, and it's just like, so what, eventually it's like, your mind starts to race when your daughter doesn't, or your kid doesn't answer you right away. And they get verklempt, like Linda Richman on SNL, like talk amongst yourselves. And they just can't talk to you, and they're withholding it, and they feel like so scared to reveal what happened. And then she does. And it's just like, I can't believe this is actually like, this is escalated. I can't believe this has gotten to this point. Ultimately, all she did was point behind a girl and say, look. And then the girl looks, there's nothing there. And my daughter goes, made you look. You belong in a baby book, which I don't even know what any of that. Like a baby book, like a book of babies or a book for babies. So yeah, it's not like, well, your daughter was smoking in the girls' room and she put out the lit cigarette on the girl's eyeball. No, nothing that's like your daughter had a girl in a figure 4 lock. No, it's just this stupid one little rhymey thing that, and it seriously affected my daughter, where she was like almost in tears, trying to, making this confession to me. And I was just like, oh my God, that's it. I hate that this is where we are in the world, but I guess, the made you look, you belong in a baby book could be like the gateway drug for, I don't even want to say it, some mean girl shit. So yeah, December was a rough month for my daughter. We also found out that we had to curb and pull back, or at least I did. I don't know about her mother, but I found out that there's an app where you can see what your kid's buying for lunch. Because a lot of times it was just like, well, she prefers to buy lunch. She's not really too fond of the stuff that I'm making. She can't really tell me what she wants. And the thing she does tell me that she wants, like, I don't feel good giving to her because it's not healthy. So there was a stretch where it was like, oh, you going to buy lunch? All right, cool. Here's what there is for lunch. I usually would pull up the menu and say, here's what's available. And she'd go, oh, okay, I'll get this. And I'll say, oh, okay, cool. And apparently they then have to tell someone at the beginning of the day what they're going to have. And it's like, what? And then they change their mind. So like, why even tell them? I don't know. It's a very weird process. But then I checked the app. I just forgot to check the app. But on the app, you can see what the kid buys. And she was just buying ice cream for lunch. That was it. There's ice cream, sometimes 2 ice creams. And I was like, 2 ice creams? So I had to revoke her lunch buying privileges and make her lunch. Cause I was like, you keep complaining about your stomach hurting. Your stomach is hurting because you are either not eating or you're eating a lot of the wrong stuff. And that's why you're constantly going to Nurse Holly. Nurse Holly. So yeah, I had to come down on her for that. December felt like I was like, I don't think I've felt worse as a parent. I was just like, I am just failing miserably at this shit. Dad of, no accolades or awards for this month. This is a low. We need to revisit and optimize, take a look at the performance, track the data, get some insights, visualize and attack. So I just felt like, oh boy. So been making her lunch, but the 2 ice cream day, I was like, what? Why did you get 2? And she's like, well, so-and-so said they didn't have any money. And I did. So I decided to get one and give it to her. And I was like, all right, but let's like maybe not make a habit of that. Like once in a while is okay if the person's hard up, but like there's a lot of like, kids do, and this is like, hey, no shit, Sherlock, but kids do not understand the value of money at this age. And so there's a lot of the exchange of money that's going on. Like, oh, I gave so-and-so $5. Why'd you give them $5? Oh, they asked for it. Why did they need the $5? Oh, I don't know. This is like just giving money away. So, and it's like, hey, why don't you buy a house? Like, oh, yeah. Because I never thought of that. I should just buy a house. So we're working on trying to understand the value of $1. But it's been rough. There was also Cookie Day in the beginning of December. Search interest was at an all-time high for Cookie Day. Insomnia cookies, Starbucks cookies, and crumble cookies were the top trending Cookie Day searches. I don't think I've ever had a cookie from Starbucks. Insomnia was like a huge sponsor for a lot of the SNY programming when I was working at Sportsnet New York. And I was very curious about trying them because it's like, I don't have insomnia, but there are, my mind is like Excite Bike. It can get overheated a lot and it races and it needs to pull over and get back and have the meter go from red to green. So insomnia was something that I was seriously considering, but I was like, a cookie before bed that feels like night terror fuel. Like that, I'm guaranteed to have a night terror based off of that. I don't think I've ever had a Starbucks cookie. I've, as most know, as of last year, maybe because there is a Starbucks down the street, I have lifted my ban on Starbucks, my self-imposed ban on Starbucks. I recently went in there. It was an interesting errand that I was running because I went to Chipotle, which is also down the street, bought my meal there. I think I ordered it online for pickup, went in, picked it up, came back out and went to Starbucks. So I was like, my coffee machine broke. The fucking Keurig can suck all the balls, dude. Like it just, I got that thing less than 2 years ago. And descale has always been lit up. I've tried descaling it a million times. It does not descale, and it will descale. And then I'll run it like twice, and it will the descale light will come back on. And it got to the point where it was like I would select 12 ounces. It's one of those where you can select, 8, 10 or 12 ounces. I would select 12 ounces and like 2 ounces would shoot out. And I'll be like, you having problems? You need to consult a physician? Seems like you need to get on some sildenafil, some Viagra or Cialis, my guy. So, yeah, that was it just was awful. So I had to opt for going to Starbucks. And I remember I went to Chipotle, come into Starbucks. There's got to be half a dozen to 10 workers behind that counter. And they're all like very Gen Z, younger types, maybe high school or college. And then they have kind of older type, maybe in his 30s, working the drive-through. Drive-through is obviously very busy, but it's like just the one guy on drive-through. And then they have this 8 or 9, 10 other employees that are just doing their own thing, but 0 of them are attending to customers like that are not driving. So like me, who's just standing at the counter, I stood there for a good 5 minutes waiting for someone to come up and help me. And eventually I just walked out and I was just like, all right, this sucks. I don't know what to do. And eventually I just ended up placing an order on the app. And that's what the world has come to. Like, you can't walk into a friggin' coffee shop and such a fucking old man shouting at the clouds boomer take. But like, why can't I walk into Starbucks and order something? What happened? I was able to do it once before. I walked in there. I just stood there. I was like, there was maybe one other customer and they were just like waiting for their order. So they had already placed their order. And it was just me standing there by myself at the counter, looking at the menu, looking at what's available, trying to make eye contact with somebody behind that freaking counter. And they're all just doing like their own little thing. Like, this one's filling this one's filling that, this one's doing this one's doing that. Not one, but yet I went out, stepped outside, placed an order on the app, and it was ready within 2 minutes. Very weird. So, have not tried the Starbucks cookie yet, though. Crumble cookies are the shillsnet. Thebomb.com, so good. It's. I mean, we haven't been to Crumble in a while, but that was like every other Friday night. We go out to dinner and then we go to Crumble and get a cookie, massive cookie. And it's like the perfect. Like, I'm not the. My ex loves Tate's cookies, which are super thin and crisp, and my daughter apparently is into that too. And I'm out on the super crisp, thin cookies. I love chunky, thick, chewy, gooey, soft cookies. That's my jam. Cookies were searched 10 times more than brownies during that time frame. I would say cookie versus brownie. I'm going brownie. Every time. It's very, very rare you find a brownie that doesn't hit the spot. So I'm a brownie guy. Coastal states searched more for chocolate chip cookies, while the rest of the United States searched more for sugar cookies. And I'm here to tell you that sugar cookies stink. And I don't understand why they're popular. I don't understand why, they're like a Christmas staple. They're awful, dude. They're just plain awful. It's like you have to absolutely 1,000% have to put some kind of frosting and sprinkles on them for them to be even somewhat tasty. And even then, it's just like, I'm trying to think of, no one's like, oh, I want sugar cookies. People eat sugar cookies because they're there. I guess they kind of catch your eye because they're usually in a shape. Christmas tree, a star, snowman, gingerbread man. Like, they're in a shape, and it's like, and you're already binging your dick off because it's Christmas time, and who gives a care? Like, we're just gonna get fat as fuck, so might as well just throw another cookie down the gullet. That's really, I mean, if elected president, no. I can't endorse sugar cookies. Hard pass on sugar cookie. I've never had a sugar cookie and been like, oh my God, it's amazing. It's always like, well, it's just, we make it because it's Christmas and we're eating it just because like we've given up. Like, that's essentially what it is. Vaseline advent calendar was trending in terms of searches. And boy, did my brain go places after seeing that. I was like, okay. Because, spoiler alert, it turns out it's just like I don't know, some kind of spa kit or beauty kit for ladies where it's like, I don't know, chapsticks and lipsticks and ointments and creams for ladies or something like that. Whatever. Because, and I'm going to put my one text chain on blast here. I'm going to peel back the curtain and give you a glimpse behind the scenes of my one text chain on WhatsApp. But every year, someone digs up and forwards a link to the booby advent calendar where it's just like every day, you get to see a new pair of boobs. And it's just like, it's the simple things, folks. The simple things, there's nothing wrong with looking at boobs. Nothing. Supposedly it has great health benefits for any of those interested. So maybe ladies get in on this as well. I don't know if this the reverse is true. I don't know if looking at a dude's junk is exactly helping out women, but yeah, it has health benefits. I've read that repeatedly. So there's always the booby advent calendar. And so when I saw Vaseline advent calendar, I was like, oh my God. Because if you are a dude, Vaseline means one thing and one thing only. So I'm sure there is a version of that somewhere, but it was not this particular one. It's like day 12 got a little messy. Oh, boy. I've also, in my job search exploits adventures, I've come across this trend where employers are asking for video submissions. Submit a 1-minute video explaining blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, okay, so in addition to tailoring my resume and my cover letter, uploading the resume, having to fill out the same exact fields that are in the resume in your little form, answering the voluntary survey where they weed you out because you're straight and white and a guy. And like all the hoops that you have to jump through. Let's also have to submit a 1-minute video. And this one was for a particular company. And I put a lot of time and effort into it. It took me basically the entire night because I wanted to be different, unique, stand out from the clutter. And, so I got a little creative with it and I submitted it. I didn't hear anything. I don't even think I got an official rejection, which is just, if someone goes through the efforts of doing every little thing that you've asked for that is basically outside the norm, I really hope that doesn't become the friggin' norm. That person deserves a personal rejection, not your boiler. Like to not even get, I don't even know. I think I don't even know what happened with that. But that was tough because I put a lot of thought into it. It wasn't just me talking for a minute straight. There were some cuts, there was some music, there was some edits, there was some effects. I put a lot of effort into it. It's a 1-minute video, but I wanted to showcase just how creative I could be. Crickets. So the founder of this particular company is a 27-year-old who graduated college in 2018. Life has completely gone off the rails, dude. I mean, ageism is it's a thing. It's a thing. It's absolutely a thing. And I'm screwed because I didn't get in on the ground floor and stick with it. So this was interesting. We've been talking here and there about astrological signs. And I know it's a chick thing to talk about and to think about, but some of this is very to know, and I've said this before, to know that someone is putting the level of thought they are into astrological signs and when someone was born and how that completely defines someone and their personality and their character just based on when they were born and the alignment of the stars and the freaking moons is wild. So there are questions about like the most searched question for each sign. I won't go through every single one. But there were a couple that kind of stood out to me. Two of which I'm more personally connected with, but the one that was kind of outrageous. Why are Aries so stupid? People are searching that. And of course, I plugged it into the old, I don't use Chat GPT anymore. I use Perplexity, but I plugged it into there to ask. And the AI was like, whoa. Let's not go throwing around names here and name calling and whatnot. Let's take it easy. But so after it gave its little friggin' disclaimer, like, not everyone is stupid. That's a harsh way of putting it. I was like, I get it. Just get to the juice, the meat, the potatoes, guy. Aries are often misunderstood due to certain traits that might be misinterpreted. Those traits are impulsiveness, confidence and assertiveness, competitive spirit, bluntness, and learning style. So with impulsiveness, because their impulsive nature, people think they act without fully thinking through the consequences. And so that could be mistaken for a lack of intelligence. Confidence and assertiveness can be perceived as arrogance or recklessness, can lead to mistakes if not balanced with careful consideration. Their highly competitive and driven nature, only focusing on achieving their goals quickly, can lead them to take risks that others might view as reckless or ill-advised. And then their direct and straightforward nature can be seen as insensitive or lacking in tact, but is not a reflection of intelligence. It's just a communication style. And Aries often learn through action and experience rather than theory. They might not always follow traditional paths or listen to advice, which can be misinterpreted as a lack of intelligence when it's actually just a different approach to learning. So interesting that would be a top search. Why are Aries so stupid? It just feels like that definitely feels like that's a chick who got burnt by an Aries guy and is just like, oh, he's just so stupid. What is he? An Aries? Oh, why are Aries so stupid? And then they search it and they realize, no, he's not stupid. He's blunt, cocky, and impulsive. So that was interesting. Why are Taurus so attractive? Why are Geminis powerful? This was another one that stood out to me. Why are Cancers, those with the Cancer sign, so freaky? Cancers are often perceived as freaky due to several unique personality traits and behaviors, emotional depth and sensitivity, intuition and psychic abilities. What? They can pick up on emotional cues and sense changes in others' moods, which might seem mysterious or unsettling to some. They're protective and loyal, can manifest as clinginess or possessiveness, which might be perceived as freaky by those who value independence. Mood swings and withdrawal. Cancers are prone to mood swings and suddenly withdraw into their shell when upset, which can be confusing or intimidating. And then nostalgia and sentimentality. Their strong attachment to memories and nostalgia can sometimes make them seem overly sentimental or stuck in the past, which might seem as unusual by others. So freaky deaky. Psychic abilities, though, that's cool. Just because you were born in a certain month at a certain day, you can friggin' read minds. Amazing. Why are Leos so dramatic? Why are Virgos so sarcastic? And then these next two I have the closest connection to. There are some others, like why are Sagittarius so powerful? Why are Capricorn so attractive? Why are Aquarius so difficult? And why are Pisces so stubborn? But I'm gonna look at Libras and Scorpios. So why are Libras so attractive? My ex-wife is a Libra. My most recent ex-girlfriend was a Libra, or cusp Libra. She refused to be identified as a Scorpio. She's right on the day that's like, you could be a Libra, you could be a Scorpio. Some days you're a Libra, some days you're a Scorpio. So why are Libras so attractive? They're charming, sociable, and outgoing. thrive in social settings, have a natural ability to connect with people, making them highly likable and attractive to others. And I have to kind of agree with that. I mean, I've said it before, but one of the things I always was impressed by with my ex-wife was her ability to, in any social situation, people would gravitate towards her. Like people that just were complete strangers would come up to me and be like, "Do I know you? You seem so familiar." Like she just had, I guess the kids call it aura or vibe, where it's like very welcoming, whereas I don't. I have a vibe that's like, you need to get away ASAP as soon as possible. So, yeah, I guess I'm not approachable, but she's very approachable. I've seen it firsthand where it's just like people that no connection to her whatsoever, never seen or heard of her or ever, come up and are like, "Are you so-and-so? Do you know so-and-so? You seem so familiar." Same with the ex-girlfriend. I mean, if you listen to that shit show of an episode where I recapped the spring break trip in Key West, it always felt like wherever we went, she was talking to someone else and like just, was, connecting and talking up some complete rando. And it kind of drove me nuts because it's like, hey, I'm here too. Remember me? I'm your boyf. And she always claimed her cringe superpower was her ability to motivate people and connect with people and to find their motivation and help them with their drive. So that checks for me. Diplomatic and tactful, allow them to navigate complex social situations with ease, making them appealing as friends, adept at finding common ground and maintaining harmony. Yeah, I mean, like that got on my nerves with my ex-wife when it was like, I had a rough day at the office. A lot of it was because of inner turmoil and my perception of what was going on. And I'd always view it as she's taking their side, when in reality it was like she's just trying to be fair and balanced. And I feel like that also happened in my conversations with the ex-girlfriend, where it was like I would mention something at work and she would kind of, not play devil's advocate, but just like be like, well, it could be this, this, and this. So I wouldn't necessarily do that. Style and beauty. Keen sense of aesthetics. I'd have to agree with that 1,000%. I mean, my ex has decided that Botox is the way to go. I disagree. And my ex-girlfriend was, measuring herself. Like would measure her body and keep a journal of the measurements. So, everyone has, their way of doing things, and I'm not here to knock it, but, I've been very against messing up and effing up your face or your body unless you feel like it's, a dire situation where it's like, seriously impacting your ability to live life. Yeah. So, and that would explain why they weren't too keen. Like I've never got, I don't think I ever, well, I think once or twice my ex-girlfriend would say, "My handsome man." But handsome is also kind of like a low key, not the best compliment. I know it's like how we describe men that are, I guess, attractive, but like handsome is just, it always feels like coded. It always feels like, I'm not hot, but I'm handsome. Got it. Like how are you? Are you okay? I'm fine. You know what I mean? It's like the I'm fine of compliments. Oh, he's handsome. It's like, well, okay, I'll take it. So yeah, but I remember like this was basically summer of 2020. It was me and my ex-wife's wedding anniversary at the time. We were going out to meet some friends. we got all showered up and dressed up, and she comes down the stairs, and I was like, "You look great. You look awesome." And she was like, "Thanks." And like, and I'll, what do you think of me and my look? Like, no comment. Got it. Libras are attracted because they're romantic and loving. They create a sense of harmony and balance in relationships. I guess I'm probably going to disagree on that, at least with my experience with the two Libras that were closest to me in my life. Intelligence and wit. Engaging conversationalists. Ability to keep up with complex discussions. Yes and no. I think one of the challenges that I had with my ex-wife and my ex-girlfriend is like it would take a lot of alcohol to get them to talk. It would, in terms of getting the conversation going and running and keeping it up, it felt like I was doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I don't know that my ex-wife would agree with that, but I think my ex-girlfriend would. She admitted that, it's so weird that she would admit this, and that because you think about her position, her job, where she was for 17 plus years, where she's a leader, a sales leader, when you're working in sales, you got to be, conversation is like your A1 quality. Like it's got to be your number one trait. The ability to engage someone and to persuade them and to influence them. And if that's your quote unquote superpower, gross barf, then how do you struggle with conversations with your boyfriend? That is like, whoa. Is it a split personality thing, multiple personality disorder? Like the fact that you, in a professional setting, that you've got that like down pat. And then in the personal setting, it's like struggle bus. Like what? So yeah, she said that she was, trying to get better at asking questions. It's like, so what's going on in that old bean of yours when we're talking? Like, you're just judging the fuck out of me? The answer is yes. So yeah, I think most of that aligns with what, it's, everyone's different. I think astrology or horology, whatever you want to call it, is kind of like a human's natural way of trying to make sense of people. And this organized taxonomy and labeling system that astrology provides is like, oh, well, I can put you in this box and put this label on you. And it helps me sort through the chaos and the confusion and it by me saying like, oh, a Libra is attractive and an Aries is stupid. Like that's just, I can now cross that off the list and move on to other fish to fry. But, it's like, you could say this. I mean, you look through that, you're so honed in on your own astrological sign or the astrological sign of the boss or your partner or your friend that you're trying to figure out. But then you look at all the signs, and it's like, well, everyone has a little bit of all this. So, but it's just, I use it for entertainment purposes and to be funny. So why are Scorpios so annoying? And I got to say, after reviewing this list, it's like, yeah, they kind of nailed it. Why are Scorpios so annoying? Secretive nature. So, I guess there are Scorpios out there who are secretive. I've never really thought of myself as a secretive person. I do, because of my personality. I can be, like this podcast is exhibit A of like how I can be a very open book and I'm not secretive at all. And people are like, hey, shut the fuck up. But there's also other times where, I'm at work and I'm not a talkative person at work. It's like when I'm at work, I just want to get my shit done and get out of here so I can actually enjoy life. So I think there are instances where people probably think I'm hiding something. It's like, no, I just, what do you want to know? It's like, I'm not going around spilling secrets. I mean, people who listen to this podcast are probably like, I'm never telling you anything ever again. It's like, all right, that's fine. But I think that happened earlier on with my ex when I was dating, before we were married, dating my ex-wife, back when we were just boyfriend, girlfriend, she wanted to know everything. She's like, why don't you tell me this? Why don't you, I feel like I don't even know you. And it's just like, well, you haven't asked me anything. Just ask me things and I'll answer you. I'm not going to just out of the blue tell you like, hey, I pooped my pants when I was 8. Ironically, it's like, I didn't get the same kind of openness. She's like, we're going to go through every single relationship you've had and find out why you broke up with that person and blah, blah, blah. And then I ask you like, hey, what happened with so-and-so? It's like, well, he wanted to live in Pittsburgh and I didn't. Okay. But now you're back together. Got it. And I think the same happened with my ex-girlfriend, where it's like, she was, I have the text, I have it saved somewhere, but like, she goes, I want to know everything you do, no matter how trivial, small, or mundane it is. She said this over text. I'm like, okay. I feel like and this is already like, we're months into our relationship and we're already texting nonstop throughout the day, just about. But yet you want to know how my morning doo-doo went. Okay. Let's go down this road, this Hershey highway. But yet, again, unless there was a lot of Jameson involved, a lot of Irish whiskey, she wasn't being very forthright with what was in her closet. So it's like, and then, you reveal stuff to this person, and it's like I've said it before, but it's like The Bachelor, or is it The Bachelorette? Either one. The woman is always like, be open, be vulnerable. You're not being open. You're not being vulnerable. The guy then becomes open and vulnerable. And the woman's like, oh yeah, I don't want to be with you anymore. So it's like, as a guy, it is in your best interests. And I see this, I saw it for a long time on Twitter, where like these threads about like, being stoic and not sharing everything and just being quiet and going about your business. And it's like, yeah, I think women, or most people, but women in particular, they really are attracted to mystery. And it's like, the longer that you can draw out the mystery and keep things mysterious, the better chances you have of success in the relationship. And it's such a stupid, warped view of relationships, coming from a relationship expert like myself, who has pretty much crashed and burned every single relationship I've ever had. But yeah, she wanted to know everything, my ex-girlfriend. And then I ended up telling her everything. And she's like, oh, yeah, I don't think we're, no, thank you. Like, we should go our separate ways. Like, all right, cool. Well, I'm glad I revealed all that stuff to you. Intensity and passion. Yeah, I mean, I can be pretty goddamn intense, and I can be pretty goddamn passionate, and that can scare some people, and can be explosive, can turn to anger, and people can feel like they're walking on eggshells around me, which I hate. And it's like, I'm aware of it, but like once I almost feel like there's no way to quickly remedy it. And so then I get very down about like, well, it feels like it's this. And in order to get to something else, I have to put in this crazy amount of effort that I don't want to put in. So it's like, if you want to walk around on eggshells, go for it. If you chose to get to know me and just approach me and talk to me, you would understand that no, you don't need to walk on eggshells around me, dude. But no one wants to take that leap of faith. And I get it. And it's like, I see it and feel it and I'm aware of it. And it's like, I need to do something to combat that, perception, and I don't. And then it just gets worse. So, very cool. It's a very cool way to live. I highly recommend it. Sensitivity. Scorpios are sensitive and take things personally. I mean, what is that supposed to mean, dude? Why is this like all of a sudden a personal attack on me? Get offended easily, can make interactions challenging, especially when trying to joke or have light conversations. As much as I like to pride myself on, or I used to I don't pride myself on it anymore, but I grew up like a funny kid, or I tried to be funny. And my life was like revolved around sports and comedy. Like I just love comedy. I love funny movies. I love funny TV shows. I love funny people. Was like 24/7 watching Comedy Central, class clown in high school. And then college kind of got like a little dark. And it's just, I feel like the humor and sense of humor within me has perished. It's like, it's on its last legs. It's on its deathbed, it just feels like the world, I don't know. It doesn't, their idea of comedy has completely shifted in a monumental way to this place where it's like, you don't even, like, for older generations, we can't even tell, like, is that comedy? Oh, this is comedy. It's just so different. So, but yeah, I can be sensitive. I take things, I mean, it's been a huge character flaw for me, is the ability to look at something for what it is. My mom always says facts, not feelings. So, but again, when you don't, like, there are people, and I guess you could call it emotional intelligence. There are people that are able to pick up on cues. They're able to do these things where they can sense. They don't need to be told. They can just see it, observe it, and accurately assess and evaluate and diagnose. Like, and I'm very envious of that. Like, it needs to be said for me to, like, I can't. There have been too many times where I try to guess and assume, and I jump to conclusions, and my ass gets handed to me. So, and I'm completely way off. So, yeah, I mean, it can be tough. The feedback that it's like, I crave feedback, but then I get the feedback and it's like, well, what? That feels unnecessary. Like, no. It's not, like, whatever. Possessiveness and jealousy. Oof. Scorpios are often possessive and jealous, which can be overwhelming in relationships. Yeah. They may become envious if they feel someone is getting more attention or achieving more than them. I mean, that was, I just mentioned it. Like, the ex-girlfriend's talking to everyone but me. And I'm like, what the, I'm a chapped liver kid. God damn. So it's like, I would rather, and I think that must have stood out to her, where it's like, man, this guy just needs my attention all the time. Why can't I just be me? Can't live my life? Manipulative and controlling, holding grudges, invasive and crass. Oh boy. Check, chickadee, check. I don't know that I'm manipulative and controlling, but I do catch myself sometimes, especially with my daughter, because that's the most interaction that I have with a person nowadays. I do feel myself, getting a little bit manipulative and trying to control her just a little too much, but it's a fine line. I try to make sure that I give her independence and allow her to make her own mistakes. Not be a helicopter parent, but it can be challenging. So I'm sure if you were to interview everyone I've worked with or that knows me or that I've dated, they'd be like, yeah, he's absolutely manipulative and controlling. It's like, ugh. Holding grudges, yeah, man. I mean, like, it sucks. I know it's bad. It's like actually physically unhealthy to do it. It's science. Seeking revenge when wronged. I mean, the list of people that I'm seeking revenge on. I have yet to get revenge on a single one of them. So, I just don't. I don't know. I think that stems from my parents. I think my parents were like that a lot. They held grudges. They still hold grudges to this day, or my mom still does. And it's carried over to me, passed on genetically. It's ingrained in my DNA. And it sucks, but it's tough. It's like, well, I'm going to forgive them. Why? What have they done that is worthy of my forgiveness? As if it's like this, this very precious, valued, it's exploding. The currency is just exploding in the market. Like it's forgiveness. It's literally just, yeah, I forgive you. Like, see how easy that was, Neal? Just do it. But yeah, it's like, what does that look like? What does that sound like? What does that feel like? It must be so relieving to be like, I forgive you. But I can't do it. It sounds great. Sounds amazing. Can't do it. Invasive and crass. I mean, yeah. I do try to solve problems without empathy, and I use sarcasm a lot. And I think that can be draining. I have a tendency to look at things a lot of times either too emotionally, where I'm just taking my own emotions and feelings into consideration, not the emotions and feelings of someone else. And then, it can be draining. I think there was a stretch where it's like, I think my ex-wife just wanted a straight answer out of me, or a straight communication without any kind of sass. And I couldn't bring myself to do it because of whatever reason. Why does anyone use sarcasm? It's usually a defense mechanism or coping mechanism, or you want to say something else, but you don't have the balls or spine to say it. So yeah, that makes sense. So, that took us down an interesting path. Thought this was interesting. Which is searched more, night shower or morning shower? Apparently night shower is searched more than morning shower. And I can understand why. More people tend to shower in the morning than at night. According to the Harris poll, 60% of Americans typically shower in the morning, while 33% do so at night. Well, so then what do the other 6% do? We just don't shower? Stinky. Another survey by the Sleep Foundation found that 41.8% of U.S. adults shower or bathe in the morning, compared to 38.4% in the evening. And we're still coming up a little short there. Anyway, morning showers are more common, but it's not as popular as you think. So, I know that it was like I couldn't wake up for a long time. It was like I couldn't wake up if I didn't have a morning shower. I had to have a morning shower. But then you get in that shower, especially in the winter when you're cold and it's all nice and warm. It's like, I don't think I'm ever going to leave the shower. This is where I live now. Night showers, though, I started to get into night showers because I read something somewhere that was like, it'll help you, it's similar to like giving a kid a bath before bedtime. It's supposed to help them relax. It's, the warm water soothes them and puts them in a relaxing state so that they can get to sleep better and stay asleep. I thought the same thing about night showers. So there was a long time, especially when I had to do like a super long goddamn commute into the city, despite living 20 miles away, where I was like, I cannot shower in the morning because I need all the sleep I can get. I'm going to wake up, throw on my clothes, and get the hell out of here. So there was a long time where I would do showers at night, and I did enjoy it. However, if you are with a partner and you are looking to get romantic on a weeknight, the night shower, you have to, and sometimes it sneaks up on you, or it's like you get out of the shower and all of a sudden it's like, hey. So then you go back into the shower after you do the deed. That's where it gets tricky. It's like night shower. And there, that thought would actually cross my mind. I was like, well, I just took the shower. I don't know if I should be engaging in this. And then I'm going to wake up and then my hand's going to smell like this. And yikes. All right. So, there was a day where I guess, and I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often. There were 2 birthday parties. So 2 kids in my daughter's grade had birthday parties on the same day. That was essentially at the same time. And it's not like a huge school. So, eventually word gets back to them like, hey, you guys kind of double booked and you invited the same people. So you're going to have to like work it out. And so they did stagger it a little bit, but it was, that was a day. That was a day and a half. I ended up texting the one mother because the one kid on the birthday invite that the parents sent out, the one kid, they said no gifts, please, which is awesome. I really appreciate that. And I think more parents should do that. Although it's tough to convince the kid that that's the way to go. It's like, I'm sure all the parents are on board, but the kids are like, wait, so no, like the thing I've been looking forward to for 364 days of the year, like I'm not, so I don't get to have that. Okay. That seems like a jip. I'm getting screwed. So the one kid, the parents said no gifts, please. And I was like, cool. So then I looked at the other invite for the other kid's birthday party and I didn't see any mention of gifts. Like, yes, no, maybe so. There wasn't even like, usually if they don't say no gifts allowed and they'll have like links to Target or whatever, Walmart with like recommended gifts or something like that. This invite didn't have either. So I was like, do they want gifts or not? So I texted the mom and I was like, hey, looking forward to the party, our gifts welcome. She gave the response she gave me like drove me nuts because it's like I'm the kind of person where you just need to explicitly state. It's like, to me, it feels like a yes or no. Our gifts welcome. No, don't worry about it. Or yeah, small gift would be appreciated. Something to that effect, Her answer was like, wait, so what? So yes or no? I didn't feel like pressing on it. So I was just like, okay. So we end up going to Target. I buy the birthday cards. I let my daughter pick it out. She was surprisingly fast, which was awesome, which is unusual. And I was going to buy like a dinosaur Lego set because it was a Lego party. They have it at this like place where it's like, I guess, a coding for kids camp type thing where they use Legos to help teach them coding. So there was a Lego party where like they show them how to, it's like how to code using Legos or something like that. So I see this dinosaur Lego set. It's like $50. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, do you think that, I turn to my daughter, I'm like, do you think this kid would like this? And she's like, yeah, I think he likes dinosaurs. And then I saw a Captain America Lego set. And I'm like, oh, and it was about the same size as the dinosaur Lego set. It's on a random shelf. And I can't find where the price tag is, but I'm like, it's probably roughly around, they probably tacked on a couple bucks, because it is a Marvel brand and, the licensing fees or merchandising fees that they have to pay, they have to, account for that, charge extra, put a premium on it. So I'm like, it's probably not $15, but it's probably like $25, which is well worth the price. So I saw it, I grab it, I take it to the front. I'm thinking it's going to be like $10 more. Boop. I do this self checkout. I scan it. $60 goddamn dollars. $60 freaking dollars. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't even think I've purchased a gift that's $60 for my own daughter. Like, and I'm going to buy this gift for this kid that's just like in her class. It's not like they're like the best of friends, you know. They are friendly to each other, and I think, you know, they could develop a really great relationship, but like they're not, you know, I don't really know the kid or the parents that well that I should buy a $60 gift. And so immediately, as soon as I checked out, I was like, I'm going to have to return this. And we're running out of time because, of course, I waited till the last minute to get gifts. So I ended up returning it. And so I get there, you know, we ended up going to the first party, which I'll get to. But we go to the next party. And the moment I walk into this place, it's like an office building. The moment I walk in, I just see this huge mountain pile of gifts on the left. And I'm like, so yes, you wanted gifts. And I didn't bring a gift. Because she was like, and don't worry if she said something about don't worry about getting a gift. Eventually said, don't worry about it getting a gift. We're just happy to have you or something like that. So I was like, she did say that. But at the same time, literally everyone else brought a gift. Fucking A. So I felt like doo-doo for that. The first party was at the kids' home, the parents' home. Very nice house, huge, spacious. They had like a Dragon Masters theme. I'm not sure what Dragon Masters is, but apparently it's super popular with some kids. I'd never heard of it before this, but they also had a magician named Matt Cadabra. And the kids were just like, I can't imagine being an entertainer for children's birthday parties. I cannot, like, if that's where, like, I have a lot of respect and for these entertainers at children's birthday parties, because the children lost their goddamn minds, especially with the magician. Just like nonstop calling him out. Like, that's fake. That's not real. That's not real. That's fake. And like every single thing he did, like, oh, he's doing this. He's doing this. And I'm like, y'all are 6 and 7 years old. Just enjoy the ride for now. Like, we don't need to debunk everything, every trick that this guy's got up his sleeve. And to his credit, Matt Cadabra handled it with aplomb. Like, the guy was poised and had composure. He even had like this thing where he would, I don't know if it's like, you know, he has a flower lapel and he can squeeze something and squirt water out of the flower. It feels like, oh no, he had a dummy. And I guess the dummy can squirt water out of its mouth or something like that. Like, insane. So anytime the kids got a little too rowdy, he would start squirting this water. And I'm like, well, there's no tarp here, guy. Like, and I understand it's water, it'll dry, but I was wondering if like the parents were ever tuned into that, if he gave them the heads up, like, hey, I'm going to be squirting water at the rowdy kids. So I thought that was interesting. He like nailed a couple of kids with the water stream to get them to calm down. At one point he brought out this like dummy, you know, to do some ventriloquism. And it was like a construction worker, but it was like a black construction worker. And I was like, and Matt Cadabra is not black. So I was like, oh boy, this feels like we're entering like Jeff Dunham territory. Like this could get problematic quick. But no, it was fine. I was just like, oh no, this is going down an interesting road. At one point though, I forgot what he had. What did he have? He had like, it was not a champagne bottle, was it? He had something like, it's like one of those things where you can pop the cap off and it shoots out confetti or something like that. It's just one of those gadgets or gizmos or whatever. And he's pointing it and he pops it and the kids go, wow. And it's like, everyone's like, ooh. And then I look over and this older Indian woman is like, oh, she's like kind of quietly groaning to herself. She's keeping it to herself, but quietly groaning. I'm standing like kind of near her and she's like rubbing her forehead and she looks like very upset and like, you know, And I'm like, wait a second. Did whatever he pop like hit her in the forehead? And sure enough, yeah. This guy popped something. I forget what it was, but it directly nailed this woman, older woman, right in the forehead, right between the eyes. And so she was like kind of, I don't know, like couldn't get her bearings. Like I was like, we put her in the blue tent. She got like, she went through concussion protocol. She was looking a little spacey, a little like dazed and confused. And I was like, there's no way like this thing that he popped is going to do damage to you, but maybe, I don't know if it hits you the right way, pressure point. So, I was like, what is that aroma? Is that a lawsuit I smell? So yeah, that was entertaining. My daughter was just gets very intense. I was crowding him a little bit, and there was a live rabbit too, a live bunny. And I was like, why, dude? That feels like a recipe for disaster. Like that thing is just, I don't think that thing's making it out of here alive because these kids want to hug it to death. So, but everyone for the most part came away unscathed, minus that one woman who got beamed in the forehead with some kind of, I don't know what the hell that thing was. Yeah, and then that next party was at Forestall Village at this one place that was so drab. It was like the definition of corporate. It was like everything's just gray and white. And like most of the kids kind of engaged with the session or lesson when it came to Legos and stuff like that. But they quickly lost interest, and my daughter would rather climb this like little ledge thing. Like the one area that you're not supposed to be for this party, that's where she wanted to be, climbing all over this ledge. And I was just like, I get off the frickin' ledge, do anything else except what you're doing here. I also saw that the snow globe cocktail was trending, which reminded me of back when I think it was Kobe Bryant, when Eli Manning retired and when Kobe Bryant was killed in that helicopter crash. I was having a rough time at work, and my then wife and her best friend, her best friend came over. Her best friend was almost always over, came over, and we ended up, she was like, I have these Percocets or whatever, or Vicodins from whatever. Like, you want one? I was like, it's the weekend. It's the freaking weekend. Let's get into it. So I think I put a Vicodin in my vodka mixed drink cocktail, and I called it a snow globe because when you put it in, it it looks like it's snowing, like a snow globe. And I called it a snow globe. And apparently that's not what's in a snow globe cocktail. So the actual snow globe cocktail captures the essence of a winter wonderland. It has cranberries, adding a vibrant red color to the ice, a rosemary sprig used to create a miniature pine tree effect when frozen in the glass, water, and then a sparkling beverage like Prosecco, champagne, or sparkling water. You can also add vodka or gin, soda water, tonic water. So that's not at all what I did with my snow globe drink. But snow globe, it's a real thing. It's a real drink. I have a feeling that version treats your body much better than what I had got going on with the snow globe cocktail that I created. I have not done that. Like people like, I actually got like a concerned call and text from my friend after he heard that. He was just like, hey, bud, just checking in. Everything all right? And I was like, yeah, it's just a one-time thing. I was curious to see what, I have a very experimental type mindset when it comes to food and beverage. I'm willing to go outside the lines sometimes and get freaky deaky with my concoctions and my creations. So I was like, let's just, let's give it a shot. It feels like, I think my reasoning was if I put the Vicodin in the drink and it dissolves, I can like, it's a slower absorption, or was it a quicker absorption? I don't know. I think maybe it was a quicker absorption. And I was like, I got to get to that buzz a little bit quicker. Why? No idea. But yeah, that was a really tough time at work. That was like right around the time I was like basically, I was just burnt out. You know, it was just all getting to me and I did not handle it well. So, but the snow globe did the trick. The next day was hellacious and simply god awful, but that night not so bad. The top searched cozy Christmas movies. I thought this was interesting because they threw the word cozy in front of there. Cozy Christmas movies that were top searched during the month of December. Number 5 was The Holiday, which I've seen. I don't know that I ever need to see it again. It was like one of those things where like, okay, it's good. I guess I think I'm happy I watched it. I think it has like Jack Black and Cameron Diaz. Not really my cup of tea or cup of snow globe, but you know, passes the time, something to watch. Number 4 is Die Hard, which makes me question everything about this list. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. What do they mean by cozy Christmas movie? Cozy as in it gives you a nice, warm, fuzzy, cozy feeling. If that's the case, absolutely. Die Hard at number 4, though, should be number 1 because I could watch Die Hard at Christmas, every Christmas for the rest of Christmas, every day. I could watch it every day. Like if Christmas break is a week or 2, we're putting Die Hard on once a day, minimum. So if that's the definition of cozy, then that needs to be number 1 with a bullet. Number 3 is A Wonderful Life. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I don't even know if it's embarrassing at this point. I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life. I've seen clips of it, mostly in Home Alone 1 and 2, where they do the Spanish dub and the French dub. But I've not watched it start to finish. I don't think I've watched, other than the clips in Home Alone 1 and 2, I don't think I've ever seen It's a Wonderful Life clips anywhere else. So maybe I should give that a run one of these Xmas's. Number 2 is Love Actually, which I think everyone, even if you haven't seen the movie, knows like that whole scene where person answers the door, opens the door. There's a person outside standing with cue cards. They have words on the cue cards. I think I've watched this. I think that scene in particular is like the reason why the guy is holding cue cards with words on is because the woman's boyfriend or husband is inside. So like the woman's cheating on the husband. I don't know. I have a weird thing about cheating. It like immediately turns me off to any. If the movie or TV show is it's just all focused on the cheating, I'm like, I'm out. Like someone recently asked me, hey, did you ever watch Friends from College, that Netflix series? And I was like, first episode, it was like everyone's cheating on everyone else in this like very incestual group of friends, college friends. So I'm out because that just, A, it wasn't my life. I wasn't invited to that party. And B, it's like, I don't know if I could handle that. Maybe that's a sign of immaturity or maturity. I don't know. Like I'm immature for not being able to handle that. And college friends that can do that and not have it completely explode are better off. I don't know. But I was like, I don't care if like this is the funniest show on earth. The fact that this is ongoing and happening and it's being treated in this way, in this manner, I can't get on board with it. It's a weird hang up of mine. So Love Actually at number 2. And then the number 1 most searched cozy Christmas movie is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. What? That is outrageous. A, because I don't think I've ever seen that movie. B, I don't know. I remember watching an episode of Robot Chicken, and they were like, the lion is an allegory for Jesus or something like that. I was just like, that's pretty funny, and also does not make me want to watch Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. I think we're supposed to read that book in school too, and I was just like, Cliff's Notes, anyone? So those are the top most searched cozy Christmas movies. Yeah, I mean, when I was down visiting in South Carolina, like I watched Die Hard a couple times. One time, I kind of caught it midstream. It was airing, and I caught it. I jumped into it and didn't start from the beginning. And the other time, we were like, just throw it on. There's nothing else going on. Throw it on. Had a very interesting conversation about 3D printed guns. Like 3D printed guns, it's like, great, you can print a gun. That's crazy. But then if you use it too much, it melts. Like it can melt. It's like, oh shit. So it's kind of limited in its capabilities. And then the other conversation we had was, look, would you rather be, which I've had this conversation before, would you rather be shot or stabbed? And it's like, I think my answer was, I think I'd rather be shot than stabbed. And the reasoning is stabbed is like, oof, like you can see it. You mostly can see it. I guess if you get stabbed in the back, you can't see it coming. But if like you are head to head, mano a mano fighting with someone, would you rather be in a gunfight or a knife fight? It's like knife fight can get out of hand. It just feels like, something's getting cut and sliced, and getting shot. The bullets like in and out, just nice and clean. Knife can hit a bunch of stuff, and it's just ugh. That's why I never really got into like the Scream movies or like slasher flicks, because it just that it's a whole nother personal, intimate form of violence that I'm not on board with. It's like I'll take it. Like you take a shot to the buttocks. It's like, can't sit for a little bit. Get a donut to sit on. Yeah, I mean, this Christmas was rough. Anytime. This is now the second Christmas that because we do this schedule with the shared custody. We do the schedule where it's like, we alternate holidays. So like last Christmas I had Brie, my daughter. This Christmas I didn't. And so this was a very tough Christmas, because last Christmas it was like I had my daughter. I'm talking to my new girlfriend, who is just like, it's a very new, fresh, exciting, happy relationship that I'm in. It was like I'm ending 2023 with a freaking bang. 2024 is looking up. It's like the first time in a long time where I've been in such a great position. And then 2024 went to shit, but and then now you're gonna have Christmas. You don't have a job. You don't have a girlfriend. You don't have your daughter. Let's try to just keep your head above water. Okay. So yeah, it was a tough Christmas. I have the fortune, the benefit of still having, my mother and my sister and her family. So they helped ease the pain. But, this was the first time I sent out holiday cards. I've never sent out holiday cards before. I think we did once when I was with my then wife. We sent them out where I look back at that picture. It was like my daughter's first Christmas. So she was like 3 months old. And, we had we did the picture with Santa and all that. And I remember I look at that picture now and I'm like, wow, we did not look like a happy family. We just looked like my then wife looked like, I don't know. It didn't look right. But, as I mentioned in the previous episode, my sister was nice enough. She's a photographer. And so she was nice enough to do like a impromptu photo shoot at this Christmas tree farm. I ended up using those pictures for the holiday cards and ended up sending out the holiday cards. I think I sent out damn near 50 50 holiday cards, which I don't know if that's a lot. I don't know if it's a little. That might be on the higher side. To anyone who didn't get a card, I apologize. I ended up scanning it and then putting it on social media just so people could see it. But, it was an interesting experience. It's kind of, it's a little pricey, will I do it again? Maybe. It was nice to get it out and to have people, the response I got back was limited, but positive. And, but I did have that moment where, I'm like repeatedly having to lick the envelopes to like seal them. And my mind immediately went to the episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza's wife died from poisoning whatever the adhesive is from licking too many envelopes. I was just like, if this is how I fricking go, epic. Definitely going to end up on TMZ, bro. So, cool experience. Will I do it again next year? I don't know. It's funny too, because I think I got holiday cards from a lot of people for years on it, and I think they gave up on me. It's that situation where it's like, well, we've been sending him cards every year for how many years, and we haven't got one from him. So like, what's the point playing that whole game? And so, and then this is the one year I decided to send it out, and it's just like, thanks. But I was overall pleased with it. It was funny though. Like I basically took the same approach that I do, to a certain act. Okay. An adult act where I just wouldn't swallow. So I just like made sure that I kept all my saliva in my mouth so that, made it easier to lick and seal the envelopes. Oh boy. Yeah, but it was a good time down in South Carolina, played a lot of card games, watched a lot of movies, the a lot of slap games, like card games where you have to slap. And I'm like, my nephew who's 3, and my other nephew who's 8, it's like they're starting to have that brotherly headbutting going on. And it's like, I don't know that the slap card game is the best way to have them interact with each other. Cause it's like, it's already very physically a violent game where you have to slap. So like the slapping then can get out of hand. So that was fun to referee and have to try and keep them at bay with all the slapping that was going on. So yeah, both those games, there was like Slapjack was the name of the one card game. And then there was Moose Mayhem or something like that. Moose Match Mayhem, which is another card slap game. And so basically it starts, and my youngest nephew is just like, I'm going to do, I'm in a very crowded space where it's like I'm the smallest and I don't have my full vocabulary yet. So I'm going to use shock and awe. I'm going to use volume and big gestures and noises. And I'm going to be as aggressive as possible because I know that like I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. So usually the card slap game would start off and it's like, my oldest nephew is like, he really does try to be patient and try to coach and teach this youngest nephew. And the youngest nephew wants nothing to do with that. He's just like, I am an agent of chaos and I am going to fuck shit up hardcore. Gotta respect it. While the one night my mom and I made dinner together, which was really nice. It was just the two of us, and ended up watching Feast of the Seven Fishes, which is a movie I highly recommend. It's set in the 70s in the Pittsburgh area, like Pittsburgh suburbs, and follows a couple people that are home from college. And the one kid is trying to figure out life. He's trying to figure out what to do with his life, where to go to college or what to do in college. and he lives with it's like his dad, his mom, his two uncles or three uncles, and seeing them, how they interact and prepare for the Feast of the Seven Fishes, one of the Italian traditions around Christmas time, which I never really, I'm part Italian. My dad's side is Irish and Italian. And so I've never really, I think I've only been part of the Feast of the Seven Fishes that I can remember like once. I feel like I did not get to the full treatment when it came to the Feast of the Seven Fishes, but it's a lot of work and most of it looks really good. There were only a couple where I was just like, I don't know that I want anything to do with that. So baked cod, check. Codfish balls, check. Deep fried cod, check. Baked cod, check. Lobster, yes. Stuffed calamari, yes. Deep fried calamari, okay. Clams casino, yes. Bacala, smelts, and the scungili salad are the two that kind of, I don't know that I'm completely on board with. But yeah, you're supposed to abstain from eating meat on Christmas Eve. So then they feast on the fishes. It symbolizes joy and the coming of Christ. Abundance, flavor, and family. And it definitely reminded me of my dad's side of the family. And my mom said the same thing. Like anytime we would go stay with them, visit my grandmother for Christmas, it was like the house was packed with people. Just like, and there's only one shower, which was, I cannot believe we were able to pull that off, because it was like, there are 4 bedrooms, but there's everyone already, all those 4 bedrooms are already occupied by the occupants, the normal residents. So it's like, my grandmother and grandfather did not sleep in the same room together. And so I think my sister would sleep with my grandmother. But it's like, other than that, so, people are sleeping in the living room on the pull-out couch. People are sleeping in the office. People are sleeping everywhere. One shower, absolutely bonkers. But it's just a hubbub of activity and buzz and just constant conversation and noise and sound. And there's always something going on. There's never a dull moment. And that's what this movie was made me think of. Just Italians shooting the shit, talking smack, talking trash, and making an insane amount of food. So yeah, it's a recommend for me, dog. Very, very good. There is a cheating part, which was a little tough to handle, but there's the really great performances, writing, directing. Not too many name actors in it, like Joe Pantalone. That's not his name. He was in it. He was awesome. But it's a bunch of like old Italian men in their, you can't say that word anymore, sleeveless t-shirts, tank tops, ribbing each other and making some really great food. So it's very rare that I get to pick a movie that both my mom and I enjoy. I feel like I've whiffed on that a lot of times. She's more of like, into Hallmark movies. So the ability to pick something and have us watch it and enjoy it was great. I ended up going out to the barn. That's like our late night tradition, is going out to the barn and smoking cigars and drinking liquor and booze and watching movies. And my brother-in-law smoked the world's largest, longest cigar. And I don't know the name of it. I'm going to look it up right now. And boy, did he pay the price. He was down for the count the next. Well, no, this is no. I mean, this is. Okay, so there's 3 mentioned here. The first one, the longest cigar in the world, was rolled by Jose Castelar Cairo, also known as Cueto. Oh, I wonder if he is embedded in a guy's stomach. Is he on Mars? A Cuban master cigar roller. In 2016, he created a cigar that measured approximately 295 feet in length. The length of a football field. Why, dude? Why? So no, my brother-in-law did not smoke that. Cigars with large ring gauges, such as the JFR Lunatic 8x80 Massivo, are notable for their size and long burning characteristics. The Exactus Super Colosso Maduro is another example, measuring 11 inches long with a 90 ring gauge. I want to say, I don't think this cigar was 11 inches long, but it was longer than 6, tell you that much. And I think he took down the whole thing. Took him the whole night, but he took down the whole thing and he was out of commish the entire next day. He was donezo. It was impressive to watch, but it was also like, you're going to be hurt. And he's like, no, I'm going to be fine. Like typical stubborn. He's not an Aries though. Scorp. He's a Scorp. So yeah, he took that down. I had myself a cigar and we ended up watching The Gray Man with Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans. I don't want to say underrated movie. I think I really liked the movie. Critics hated the movie, but it's a good watch. And I do love smoking cigars when I'm down there. I mean, we do it almost every night, which is kind of crazy. But the thing that stinks about smoking cigars is the stink. I mean, like it permeates everything, your skin, your clothes, everything. And so I had to take a late night shower just to get that stink off, because I was like, I don't want to go to bed like this. Then the stink gets on the bed, and then I wake up and I'm stinky, and it's like, and that shower was awesome. The late night shower after you've been boozing and smoking a cigar, it's just pure ecstasy. My brother-in-law also on Christmas Eve wanted to go fishing, just out of control, just insane. I mean, he loves fishing. My oldest nephew loves fishing. And he was like, I hope you're ready. We're going to probably try and get out on the water by 4 a.m., which the sun doesn't even come up for another friggin' 2 hours. So he's like, we're going to hit the road by 3. So you're going to get up around 2 in the morning. And I'm like, on Christmas Eve, you want me to get up when I usually go down for the night, just so I can go on a boat in the cold and not catch anything for and they go for so freaking long, like 12 hours minimum. I was like, I hate to tell you this, bud. I know this is like your passion, but I would rather get shot or stabbed than go on a fishing trip on Christmas Eve. Like maybe if you're like, we're going to sleep in, we're going to head out and go out for like a couple hours. Like that's, to me, is fine. It's an all day expedition extravaganza. And I was just like, no, dude, I have no interest in doing that. So I think he was bummed and he was upset, and he kind of, handled it the way he does. And I know my nephew was upset, but I was like, guys, Christmas is about being together as a family unit. As my daughter is 600 miles away from me. So yeah, that was a tough, he was not happy about that, but he got over it. We watched Die Hard. He got over it. He ended up smoking a corn cob pipe. Didn't know he had that. He broke that out. I was like, holy shit, that's cool. I don't know if did I smoke out of it? I did smoke out of it. It was cool. It definitely makes you feel a certain way. Like, oh, I'm a farmer now. I have to worry about my daughter getting knocked up. The cows are acting moody. But yeah, that was, I enjoyed that. There's something to be said about, like, I've always, I don't know if appreciation is the word, but I've always been like, my my one friend from college, like rolling his own cigarettes. There's something cool about like a corncob pipe, rolling your own cigarettes, like the process that goes into poisoning your body. You don't feel as bad about it. You're like, I put in work. There's a process here and it's cool. It's not just like, hey, I'm going to slip a ciggy out of the pack and light up. It's like this. There's a method to the madness. My Christmas Day, we opened gifts, and gifts are a little bit of a tender spot for me right now. But I don't know if it was my mom or my sister, someone, or maybe it was even freaking Santa, dude. Freaking Claus coming in from the clouds with a really just annoying gift. The Loud Cup. I don't know if you're familiar with the Loud Cup. I have it in the other room. I should have brought it in. But there's a hole for your mouth where you can drink. And then there on the other side, there's a hole for your mouth to blow. And you can blow into this hole in the cup. And it makes this loud ass noise, similar akin to a vuvuzela. Do you remember the World Cup where everyone's blowing the friggin' vuvuzela at all times? And so that was like that was a good first 5 to 10 minutes where it's like, I'm hungover. I'm tired because I was up all night, last minute gift wrapping and placing the gifts. And, you have to, there's just a lot that goes into Christmas Eve night. And my sister and brother-in-law had this amazing idea to do a scavenger hunt for the kids so that they can eventually find out that they're going on a Disney cruise. Very creative, inventive, awesome way to do the gift reveal. And so we're out in the barn and we're like, he's got his torch and I'm crumpling the paper. All the instructions are written on the paper, but we wanted to make it look like a treasure map. So, we're like singeing the edges and burning the paper in certain spots to make it look like this old treasure map. Like we just put a lot of effort into it and it came out looking pretty decent. And so, it didn't get to bed till late. And then, obviously Christmas morning, as soon as the sun peaks its nog over the horizon, the kids are eyes wide open and going nuts. So, they're raring to go. And so I'm, on limited sleep, hungover, and then these cups come into play. And I'm like, kill me. Vuvuzelas just drilling into my cerebellum. So that was tough to kick off the Christmas gift unwrapping. So I ended up, once things calmed down, I couldn't hold out anymore and just napped right there on the couch. I did, when I woke up, I ended up helping out a little bit. Wasn't a complete lump on a log. I arranged a board that was shaped like a Christmas tree. Had sliced tomatoes, mozzarella and basil, sprigs of evergreen tree. And I don't think anyone ate it. I think that people looked at it and were like, I think I ended up eating most of it. But, I am the walking epitome of expectations versus reality. Like everyone has this expectation and then they're like, here's what we expect. Now you do it. And then I'm the reality of the situation where it's like, all right, well, this is what I came up with. Did I pass? They ended up making like a tenderloin in a really awesome sauce, like a sauce that was awesome. Mashed potatoes, asparagus, sweet potato casserole, and little cheesy biscuits. So good. So we ended up that night watching Carry On in the barn. And sure enough, we had been talking when we were watching Die Hard about 3D printed guns and how they melt if you overuse them. And then sure enough, plastic gun, 3D printed in Carry On, the movie Carry On blew up. Decent movie, good movie. Is it going to be like a staple at Christmas? I don't think so. I don't know that that's going to be like one we go back to every Christmas, but man, it was it tried. I know that. I think it tried. In terms of like, we're every Christmas we're getting like just a deluge, hundreds of Christmas movies every Christmas. So it's the marketplace is crowded, a little bit saturated for my taste, but this one tried its best. And Taron Egerton, I thought had a decent performance. He former track star who needed to run fast throughout the movie. I'll just say that. He's almost getting like a Tom Cruise type reputation of like, I'm going to run and sprint in every movie that I do. And I'm okay with that. He looks like he can move pretty fast. Jason Bateman as the villain was good. I don't know about great. I think he definitely, I think most people felt like he was a little bit out of place, maybe. Like, can he carry this throughout the entire movie? I think we're so used to seeing him being like the snarky, quick-witted quip guy. I know there was Ozark, and he had to take on a little bit of a darker side there, but he was more of like he's more strategic. This one was like he's dead set on doing some damage. So, decent movie. But I don't know that that's going to be one of the, certainly not a Die Hard. Certainly, I don't think that's going to be something that's going to be played every Christmas. So, a little bit of a miss, but also it's like, I don't regret watching it. We had to move the peacock pen. My brother-in-law has a pen of peacocks. Originally, there were two, a male and a female peacock. They, I guess they had a little bit too much JMO one night and fornicated, and they reproduced, and they got all kinds of little baby peacocks. And so now there's another pen with the baby peacocks. There's two big peacocks in the one pen, and then another pen. And so we had to move the peacock pen. And there were a lot of mice, that had burrowed little tunnels and holes all throughout, underground, in and out of the pen. And there were a lot of baby mice and mice murdered that day. That we had to move the peacock pen, unfortunately. I did not partake, but yeah, that was like it was tragic. There was a lot of the memorial service was tasteful, though. I have to say, very tasteful. I also ended up making one of the worst drinks ever. I had already had a couple cocktails in the system, and oh boy, that was rough. I basically, I typically don't make anyone else drinks ever, and this is a major reason why. Every time I end up making a drink for someone else, it is undrinkable. It's like every time I go to make a drink for someone, it's not just bad, it's like all-time disaster level. Rabbit Hole whiskey with Coke Zero, vanilla extract, and cinnamon and nutmeg. I was like trying to make like not a healthier version of an eggnog, but I wanted to make a Christmas drink that was not so heavy on like cream and but still had like a lot of the awesome flavors that I like from Christmas drinks, like vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg. Like I wanted that to be part with the whiskey, but not, instead of like the nog, Coke Zero. And I just put way, way too much cinnamon and nutmeg in it. To the point where people were coughing and choking, like it was like the cinnamon challenge, teaspoon of cinnamon challenge, which is, essentially I put a teaspoon in. I think I just really overdid it. And I don't even know what to call that drink, but The Nightmare Before Christmas maybe is like a good name for it, but it was just detestable, truly loathsome, just despicable. Maybe I call it the Groot. No, the Grinch. Maybe I call it the Grinch. It's not green though. I'd have to color it green. But just it has the right foundation. I feel like I just wanted like a vanilla Coke Zero would have been great. Like if you could get a vanilla Coke Zero, mix that with a whiskey, and then I probably should have just done the rim with cinnamon and nutmeg, or just the one shave. You know how you can shave it? Just do one shave. That would have been the way to go. Oh, we ended up going to a friend's house the one Friday night. I think this was after Christmas. We went to his house. He lives in North Carolina, like on the water. I want to say the bay, the harbor, that's on the water. Beautiful, huge, big house in North Carolina in a gated community. It was really cool. We ended up having Gemsbach burgers, or Gemsbach. I've talked about Gemsbach before. It's like a type of elk or deer with jalapeno peppers and cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, mustard, with waffle fries and mac and cheese. Ooh, it was so good. Played a bunch of pool and was up. I beat my brother-in-law, which he hated because he's a very competitive type person. And we went toe to toe, epic game of pool. And went back and forth. It looked like he was going to win. Looked like I was going to win. Very dramatic. And I ended up beating him. Took forever. And then the very next game, I played his friend whose house we were partying at. And I scratched on the next, on the break. I was supposed to break. I scratched, meaning I immediately lose. I was up multiple balls in another game. I was dominating, scratched on the 8-ball. It's just I fucking stink at pool. I don't know what to tell you. We ended up doing. Oh, there was one. We were just. I remember we were just hanging out in the living room. Oh, they also had like a makeshift breathalyzer that was pretty cool. So I enjoyed that. We all enjoyed that. We all tried to see just how drunk we were. And my sister ended up being underneath the legal limit. So she drove us back. And now I know why my brother-in-law does not like to be a passenger in a car and always demands to drive. Like he always has to be driving because he cannot handle being not driving. He cannot handle being a passenger. He sat shotgun. I think this is the first and only time I've ever seen him not driving the vehicle that I've been in with him. He was in the shotgun and he could not sit still and he could not stop talking. And I think it's because he said that he gets sick on roller coasters. And I think he gets car sick when he's not driving, when he's not in control, because he decided he was like playing DJ on his phone. And so I just had to rapid fire keep coming up with it seemed like power hour without the drinking. Like had to just come up with a new song every minute. So it was interesting to see him like try and handle not being able to drive and having to sit shotgun. Was it that? No, it wasn't that night, but I think it was the day before or the day after. We were sitting in the dining room by the kitchen, and I was just sitting there. And he comes up to me. I'm sitting, and he comes up, walking up to me, and he has like this bottle, and he's opened the bottle, and he sticks out his arm towards my face, and he was gonna say like, smell this or something like that. And without even hesitation, and this makes me think I had to have been buzzed or drunk, because it's like normally I don't think I would have done this. Without hesitation, I immediately buried my nose in the bottle and immediately had a sharp pain go through my nasal cavity into my brain. It was like someone took a ice pick to my brain, and he was like, he lost his marbles. He was laughing hysterically. He was like, I didn't think you were going to do that. Smelling salts. I've never done smelling salts before, which I know is hard to believe since I used to play football. I've never done smelling salts. I've seen plenty of guys on the sideline during broadcasts of football games do smelling salts. I know Baker Mayfield voluntarily does it without even being injured or concussed before games. But I stuck my schnoz deep into that bottle of smelling salts, and I was in excruciating pain for the next 5 minutes. It was just like my eyes were watering like crazy. I could not get over it for 5 minutes straight. And it's the hardest my brother-in-law has ever laughed, and he could not get over it. It's just like how long and hard how I just went balls to the wall, literally nosedive into a bottle of smelling salts. Ooh, man, that was harsh. That was tough. Another quick anecdote. I think this was a gift for either my youngest nephew or the dog. It looks like a chew toy, but it's a hot dog in a bun with mustard. So it's a hot dog, and it's I guess it's squeeze. You can squeeze it, but it has a suction cup on the end of it. And so after, this is a Christmas gift. So after, we open it, like for the rest of the time I was down there, people are just flipping this hot dog, and it lands on the suction cup, and then it looked like a dildo. It looked like a dildo. It was a dildo. It was just basically just wobbling back and forth, this big old hot dog just flipping and flopping while stuck to the ground. It was just like, oh boy. I don't think the kids get this. The adults are lapping it up. And then New Year's Eve, got to spend with my daughter. We went to see Sonic the Hedgehog 3 at the theater nearby. My daughter had to pee 3 times within 30 minutes. We missed so many major plot points. It was absurd. I think her friend was there with another friend, that's always a little weird. Like, whoa, your friend has other friends? What? Are you cheating on me? It's like, no, just doing our own thing. Her peeing has gotten out of control. It's just, there have been times where within a span of 2 to 3 minutes, she's peeing 3 times. It's like, what? How is this? It's like, just let it fly, sister. Let it flow. Let the good times roll. Just get it all out. Why are you going it's absurd to the point where I think she's trolling me and she thinks she's hilarious. And maybe that's the move. Maybe she is, what's his name from Jackass, just torturing his parents. I think that's my daughter doing to me what he was doing to them. So yeah. And then PG movies, right, are rated PG for parental guidance, but you can't really parentally guide in a movie theater while the movie's going on. That's what it drives me a little nuts is and maybe, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Okay, this movie's rated PG, parental guidance suggested, but you're in a movie theater where you have to be quiet. How do you guide parentally while in a movie theater? And then I went to Trader Joe's and picked up an excessive amount of dips. I got a lot of dips. I got dip crazy. I went in a dip frenzy. And that's all I had for dinner for New Year's Eve was dips. It was like a chicken bacon ranch dip, hummus. I want to say there was a French onion dip, and there might have been one more. No, it was 3 dips. 3 dips, but that's all I had for dinner was just carrots and tortilla chips with 3 dips. My one friend was completely grossed out when I told her. I was just like, I mean, dips are great. I love dips. More people should eat dips. We watched the countdown in Puerto Rico. My daughter loves ball drops. She loves dropping balls. She loves when the ball drops. Ball drops, not balls. So she was obsessed with it. She was very into it. She loved the Puerto Rico one, counting down in Spanish. And then the New York City one happened. We counted down and she was like, that's it? Like, we just count down from 10? That's it? Like, we didn't even get to see the ball drop. Like, they didn't really show it. She wanted to show more of the ball dropping. And I'm like, okay. There's only so much you can do here. But I guess the major note that she would pass back to the powers that be, the producers, is like, hey, let's make a longer pole for the ball to drop down. And let's start that sucker at an hour left. Like, that would be kind of intense. I think that's the way that you could maybe get the ratings back up, is like, let's have a longer ball drop. Let's have more interesting things happen while the ball is dropping. Maybe that's like something that we could explore there. So, but yeah, it was a fun New Year's Eve. Not as quite as fun as the previous year's New Year's Eve, which I spent with my then girlfriend. But there's a different kind of dip going on there, if you know what I'm saying. All right, that's that. How do you know if you had enough podcasts for the day? Right there and then. So that's Diciembre. That was the end of 2024. Oof, what a craptastic year. So 2025, not really off to that hot a start either. So, but maybe it'll be like the reversal of 2024. 2024 started off with a bang, literally, and got worse from there. 2025 started off kind of meh, and maybe things will get better. But goddamn, there was an altercation I had in the Trader Joe's this past week that made me want to crawl in a hole and never come out. So stay tuned for that. So we'll talk to you next time. When that'll be, no frickin' clue, dude. I believe there will be a next time, hopefully. We'll talk to you then. Adios, muchachos.